You do realise with the podcast you're going to have to actually listen to like what I say?
What the fuck does that mean?
I have to listen? What?
What?
are you talking about?
I can't just talk.
No, sadly.
This is not what I signed up for.
Oh god.
Oh, he's woken up now.
Well, here we
much
are.
for not being hungover today. We tried.
Cheers, friend.
Yeah, there we go. Onwards and upwards.
Right, so here we are. Our first of many podcasts, hopefully. This is subject to change with myself, Dwayne, and
Dan Saf, D-Man, D-Saf. Yeah, I'm a bit nervous. I don't know.
Need a little bit more enthusiasm. So
Yeah,
we'll try
sorry.
that again.
I'm really fucking excited. Welcome
We'll
to...
try that again one more time. So
Okay,
yeah, this is subject to change. First of many with myself, Dwayne, and...
Dan, D-Saf, I'm fucking excited. This has been...
No one calls him D-Saf.
No, I just call myself...
Some
people call me D-Saf.
He's very nervous, so
I'm nervous,
he's just saying stuff that like it's not a thing.
Yeah.
But first of all, before we get into this, just want to say thank you very much to everyone that's so far supported us.
Big thanks.
On Instagram, pretty much mainly. We've got all our other social media platforms that are going to be rolling out very soon. So thanks to all the man them and the gal them for the support.
It is really appreciated, especially, I know we haven't done a lot so far, but I think what we've put out and having the feedback we've got, it really does it's so nice when you get people like, oh, that's really good, I'm excited to listen to it.
Yeah.
Even though we've just done like small little bits, it's nice to get like that kind of feedback and people are already interested.
Exactly.
I think it's going to be good. I think people are going to like it.
I do too as well. I think because a lot of our friends know our personalities, and like us together bantering is like, it's always, in my opinion, quite entertaining.
Yeah.
So I think...
Fizzy Fanta.
Huh?
Fizzy Fanta? Banter? Like top fizzy?
Stop it.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm liking this already.
So much.
Oh, we can do whatever we want. Fuck it.
But yeah, people know our banter and like how we get on. So like, Dan and I haven't even known each other like a year yet. We met.
No.
When did you move in? To my place? Like
yeah,
July?
so I used to live in Cremorne, which is North Shore, and no one knows where that is. It's like north of the wall, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I moved to Bondi at like end of August. I was looking on Flatmates, and this was like the first place I came across. And I remember messaging you, DMing you on Facebook because I couldn't find you.
He bombarded me with messages. Oh my goodness! I remember I was busy that Saturday or something, or it was a Friday. I don't know when it did, but he messaged me on Facebook on flatsmate.com. He texted me, he called me. I'm like, who is this absolute weirdo?
It's because I saw you in Mr. Northern Ireland. I recognised you. I was like, holy shit!
There was no need to bring that up at all. That was just completely irrelevant. But yeah, so Dan and I pretty much met at the end of August.
Yeah.
When he moved into our place, and yeah, we've just one of those things where one of my friends at the time, and now his friend as well, just left to go to do his farm work, and yeah, it was just by chance that he ended up just finding the place and he moved in. And then
I think it was the first place I viewed as well. Yeah, it was the first place I viewed.
We just got on pretty well, and then now we are 6 and a bit months down the line, and we're doing a bloody podcast
It's
together.
been initially, so I know that I had this in the I was thinking about doing a podcast for ages, and I think the first thing that inspired me was the Ricky Gervais show. Have you seen the Ricky Gervais show? Like Carl Pilkington, Steve Merchant.
Oh, years ago, yeah.
So I just saw that, and I was like, that is funny. I like that. I think that's cool. Just sitting there with your mates, chatting shit. They talk about relevant stuff as well, but they just have such a good bit of chemistry on screen. I was just like,
on podcast.
I was like, eventually I really want to do that. And I came to you initially, and I was like, let's do it. And you were like, nah, you want to do it on your own. So like, what kind of like, what made you want to be like, yeah, fuck it, let's give it a go, apart from my absolute pestering you every day?
Yeah, fair. The pestering thing definitely helps. That's why you're in sales.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think just because obviously when you initially first brought it to me, we hadn't really known each other that long. It was like a few months in. But I think over time, like we've obviously got closer as mates and that. And then we realised even people that like meet us think that we've known each other for like ages, like years. And when we're telling like, no, we've literally known each other like a few months. They're like, holy shit, that's mad.
Yeah.
So I just know like in real life we get on pretty well. We banter off each other, we debate and argue a lot, and obviously I'm very stubborn and refuse to give in if I feel like I'm somewhat in the right, or if my argument's solid, I won't back down. So I feel like it'll be good. It'll be good for a podcast, and that's I've thought about it as well, of doing podcasts, but you know, like, you always wait for the right time.
Yeah.
It's like, what would I talk about if I was doing it on my own? Am I like...
Did you have any kind of idea what you would talk about on your own?
Pretty much what we're talking about now, really? To be honest.
Do you think it'd be a lot harder?
It would be harder because I feel like doing a podcast on your own, you need to be a certain type of like personality to be able to like carry a whole podcast of you just like talking about your own opinions and no one there to kind of rebuttal anything.
Yeah, I find it difficult as well.
Yeah. Do you?
Oh, I see what you did there. I
feel like you just talk and then most of us just like... Right.
I talk to myself a lot. Do you talk to yourself?
No, not really.
You never talk to yourself?
In my head.
I've like out loud conversations with myself. Like I walk around the flat and I just like have out loud conversations.
You told me the other day you have to read out loud as well.
Yeah, I read out loud.
Yeah,
I think I'm dyslexic.
Really
I do think I'm dyslexic. I'll read something and I'll read it the wrong way, and I think I'm dyslexic, but I think that's just a bit of a side tangent.
We've just literally just gone off there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the first podcast that we're doing now is going to be pretty much a quick introductory one.
Yeah.
Giving a bit of insight into us, how we ended up in Australia, why we left home. We're going to talk about the worst parts of our 2020, the best parts of our 2020. And then just a little bit about what we learned last year and a little bit about ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Because I feel like we need a segue, because obviously we know there's going to be people listening to this that know us very well, and there's going to be people that know like who we are, may have heard of who we are. Yeah. Not that we're like a big name or anything.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty big. I'm really well known in Brisbane.
He's pretty big in Bondi.
Yeah, I'm pretty big in Bondi. Oh, let's get pissed. I really want to get pissed.
Easy on. But yeah, we're just going to give you a quick overview into us. So obviously we're both in Australia.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that Australia seems to be a destination that people, especially in the UK...
It's strange that everyone always comes to Australia.
Flees to.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is, though? What do you think it is? I know I have kind of an inclination as to why I think...
I don't want this to sound ignorant and feel free to correct me. But I feel like it's like a very easy, like it's westernised. People want to come here. It's easy to get a working holiday visa. The money's good. You're by the beach. I'm guessing people go to America. I don't know what the different like visas are. I don't know if you can get a working holiday visa there.
Yeah.
But I just think Australia, it's easy. Working holiday, live by the beach. What other destination? You've got New Zealand, I guess, but it's not really like the same. It's not as hot. You know, it's not as.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's why.
I think that's definitely one of them, but I also think because what Australia's perceived to us in the UK is like this beautiful beach destination, beautiful women, like beautiful like atmosphere, whatever, which it totally is.
Beautiful men as well.
Well, yeah, okay, if you're into that.
Is that a problem?
No, not at all.
We'll probably edit this bit. We'll edit that. That's just a joke. We'll edit that.
Yeah, I think the idea of Australia being so far away from back home is what's also quite appealing. I feel like a lot of people that come here are just so... Well, if I'm speaking from a personal part...
Please do.
When you come this far, most of the times when you do leave back home, it's because you're just bored of like life there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I know initially when I left, so like I feel like, you know, this resonates with a lot of people. I initially went to uni, a bit of a side tangent because I wasn't ready to get a job yet. I think those people, they finish college, are like, right, get a job or go to uni and piss away 3 years, getting pissed and just having fun. I was like, I'll do that. And then I finished uni and getting to the end of it, everyone's like, I'm going travelling, YOLO, Wanderlust, find myself. And I was like, all right, I'll go travelling, I'll give it a go. And I just thought of Australia. And I came here. And I was like, I think the moment I touched down, I went travelling on my own, and I just thought it's the best way to be. I just broke up with my like first ex from 17 to like 21, like 5 years we were with each other. And I was like, you know, hadn't really been single, hadn't been on my own. I was like, I'm gonna go travelling on my own. Nervous as fuck. And I touched down in Australia, and the moment I got here, I was like, I'm in love with it. I got to Melbourne, base hostel, St Kilda, oosh.
I stayed in base in
that's
Sydney.
Cool. And I was like, I can't imagine being at home anymore. Like, what's the point? Like, this is beautiful, amazing country, amazing people. I think over the year when I was here, I was just like, I'd rather... Vitamin D is so underrated, and I don't think people realise...
Every time I'm in the sun, I'm like, this is so healthy.
Do you know what? Well, do you know what?
My skin is looking peng!
I love it. Bit of skin cancer really turns the beds on. And I was just like... I just don't like... I could do what I'm doing back home, but be by the beach, be in the sun, go swimming.
It's that work-life balance.
Yeah, 100%.
That's like a big deal because obviously back home, if you live in London, if like for me living in like Belfast, obviously the weather's like shit. It's cold, it's wet, it's windy. Like you don't in the summers, you don't have that option of when you finish work at 4:30 or 5:30, like to just go straight to the beach. Like we live in Bondi, I work from home now. You work from home. Just being able to go down to the beach on your lunch break for an hour and then come back and work and then or at the end of the day is just you wouldn't get that back home. And I think me moving here, it was so random. So before I moved to Australia, I was in a place where I just like, I was just pretty much, I was working, making money, and I was just in a place where I was like, I'm so bored. And it was literally one night, I was working for a nightclub at the time, and I was chatting to this.
Was this in London?
No, this is in Belfast.
Oh, this is Belfast, yeah.
Working in this nightclub, Alibi, shout out to Alibi nightclub. And then I was chatting to this girl, Katie, and I was just like, oh, like, what are you doing? She's like, oh yeah, I'm traveling. I was like, oh, where are you going? It's like, yeah, I'm going to Thailand with like loads of my mates, and then I'm going to Australia. And I was like, what? It's like, yeah, I'm just like, I was like, how much? Like, how did you do that? She's like, literally just went in the SDA travel, went in, they just gave her the itinerary and booked it. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that.
You don't need much, like, you don't need much to come here.
Yeah, no, literally.
I came here with like, I think, after flights, I had like £5,000 saved up. Which is like between 3 and 5k.
I spent way too much money in Thailand before I landed.
How much money did you come down here with?
I landed in Australia with like £1,000.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That would have stressed me out.
Yeah.
Oh mate, that would give me such anxiety. I'd be like, £1,000. That goes like that.
Literally living paycheck to paycheck as well. And when I landed, I was so adamant that I wasn't going to do like a job that I didn't want to do. Like I didn't want to work in hospitality. I wanted to like get back into videography, so I was trying to get that, and I just couldn't because at that time I just didn't have enough experience. And I was in a working holiday visa, and you're only allowed to work 6 months, obviously. So it was just like a long process, and I was spending all my money, and then I finally just had to just take any job that I could get until I went into my farm work.
I've got a really interesting point about that. I know from like living here, and I know like everyone's probably heard conversations like this or thought about this before, like farm work, when you think about doing farm work. So I did my farm work, and I knew as soon as I got here, I was like, I have to do my farm work, I need to get my second year. I'm not fucking going home. I thought, do that, get sponsored, live the rest of my life here. And I spoke to so many people like, I just don't know if I want to live here, the thought of doing farm work. And mostly every single person I spoke to who didn't do their farm work and had a few weeks to go home, they're like, I fucking regret it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm like, why would you not do it? It's 3 months of your life, and it gives you an extra 12 months to do it, and it's fun. But even if it's not, it's like short-term sacrifice, long-term gain.
You never want to think like, what if? That's the same way I
100%
kind of live life in every sort of situation. Like, why would I put myself in a position where in a few years down the line I think, like, what if I'd done that? If you're like dating a girl and you're like, what if I'd just like chatted to that girl or like
100%.
made a bit more of an effort? What if you tried one more time? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to sit there and think, have I just missed out on the best experience I could? Look at he's fully sleeping.
Oh no, he's so cute.
Have I just missed out on
Wake up! Oi!
No, let him sleep. Have I just missed out on the best experience I could have had just because I was just stubborn or too lazy to just do that one more time?
100%.
But yeah, I feel like we pretty much covered that whole Aussie situation and why we came.
Well, just to go on like to your farm work and stuff like that, because I know you told me you had a pretty easy job when you were there. You eventually started like just staying on the tractor. That's ridiculous. That's a piss take.
No, I grafted like pretty hard. Like I would say,
for everyone who knows you, that is never true.
So say if we're obviously there for 3 months, so say just over a third, I would have grafted, and then about 2.5 months I got to go on the tractor. But they're not just going to put anyone in the tractor. You need to show you're a hard worker. Like if you're lazy, they're not going to we'll just put the lazy one on.
So you did it for how long did you graft for?
About a month and a half of proper graft.
6 weeks.
Yeah, like 30, like mid 30 degree heat was ridiculous.
Mid 30, I thought just under 40 for 4 months.
That's what mid 30s is.
No, but like, I think you said mid to low.
I did not say mid to low. You knew I didn't say mid to low.
I zoned out.
By the way, everyone, just so you know, Dan likes to just bullshit a lot.
Yeah.
So if you ever hear him like talking very fast and with confidence,
that's not true.
I'll make sure to call him out, but always listen just in case you just chat and shit.
Yeah, sometimes I just fluff a lot of my words. Yeah. And sometimes as well, I do this by accident, and I don't know if you've noticed it. I think you have. Sometimes people talk to me, and like when they, I don't do this on purpose. I had ADHD. I got diagnosed with ADHD when I was a kid, which I'm sure people can't tell from not speaking to me. But I'm not very hyperactive, and I just go left to right all the time.
Shout out to the man, then.
Anyway, yeah, and sometimes I do the thing where someone's talking, and I'm like, make sure you're listening, And instead of listening, I'm thinking about listening. So I'm like, listen to what they're saying. Don't go off on a tangent. Don't think about what you're eating later. Listen. I'm like, fuck, I've just missed everything they've said because I've been thinking about listening, and I've already gone on a tangent thinking about what I'm eating later. I worked in recruitment for a couple of months, and my boss was sitting across from me. This is a fucking true story, and this is funny. He's sitting across from me, and he's talking, and he's telling me this thing to do recruitment, about the recruitment life cycle. Anyway, and he's talking to me, and he's writing down on paper, and he gets to the end like, cool, do you understand that? And I was like, yeah. And he covers up the paper and he's like, what did I just say?
Oh my goodness.
I have a feeling you didn't listen to anything I just said. You just have this look on you, like you just looked through me. And I totally did. I was like, fuck, this is awful. He's just called me out. Luckily, I made something up. And you're
a good bullshitter, to be fair.
Oh, I was nervous as well. I was nervous that I was just like...
You do realise with the podcast, you're going to have to actually listen to like what I say?
What the fuck does that mean?
I have to listen? What? What are you talking about?
I can't just talk.
No, sadly.
This is not what I signed up for.
Oh, God.
Oh, he's woken up now. Welcome back, mate.
Hello, friend.
Yeah, go on.
So we obviously met last year, and you were on... Yeah, so last year was obviously just a weird year for everyone.
Fucking hell, mental. I remember in January...
So weird.
People talking about COVID, and like probably ignorant at the time, but I was like... What is COVID? This is in Jan. I was like, never heard of it. Never heard of it. Mate's like, do you know what's the news?
Can you catch that? Yes. Can definitely catch it.
What?
Seriously? What's COVID? Do I need to get
what
tested?
What the fuck's a COVID? Well, my mate told me, and I was like, I don't really watch the news. I don't. And I'm sure there are people who don't out there. I don't watch the news. I don't follow anything that's going on. And he told me, I was like, nah, I don't know what that is. And then in March, suddenly people were like, yeah, we're going to have to shut down the office. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah,
and people at first were like, they're like, nah, it's just the flu. And I did that at first. I was like, it's just the flu. People are over-exaggerating. Because you rub off what other people are saying. You're like, don't worry about it. And because we've never dealt with a pandemic before.
Yeah.
So you're like, people over-exaggerate. And people do. People do over-exaggerate. But, you know, obviously, that's just not true anymore.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Like, you saw what was happening in China. And you're just like, how, like... Because you saw what happened in Wuhan, whatever, but just like, oh, that's where it came from. Like, it makes sense why they've like had to shut things down. But I think most people were just so, they were just so blasé about it. It's like, I myself, I was like, there's no way like it's gonna get that bad. How are you gonna like lock down a whole country? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just baffled me, like how it went from 0 to 100 so quick. And
it put me off eating bats for years. Is that not funny?
Yeah.
We can edit that out as well.
We'll leave that in. But so obviously like 2020 was like a really hard year for everyone.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely a good talking point for us to like also try and say what would you, in your opinion, say the worst part of your 2020 was?
That's a good question. Like, I was stressed, like, to be honest. I was working for a company, and another company that not where I'm working now. At first I wasn't thinking about it, and then like in sales, obviously, like if people don't want to buy your stuff and the businesses aren't growing, like salespeople are like the first ones to go.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
Like, there's nothing to sell, you don't need us. So I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? If I'm made redundant, I'm out of work, who knows till I get into another job. Luckily I did get another job, I wasn't made redundant, which is, you know, lucky, because I know some of my friends did go through stuff like that and they weren't made redundant, and people are still like in jobs they don't want to be in because they jumped into another situation they didn't want to be in.
100%.
So that was stressful. That was so stressful, and I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to like? I'm going to go broke. I'm not going to have any money. I'm going to eat from my savings. And I think as human beings, we always go to like the worst case scenario.
Always.
I think it's such a natural thing to do. We always look at the worst case scenario. Probably that, and probably that would be like quite difficult. I know that me and you had both gone through, like, obviously we don't have to talk much about it now. We'd obviously both gone through a breakup as well.
Yeah.
I know I was in my relationship for 3.5 years. You were in yours for a certain amount of time. And
on and off.
Yeah, on and off. And it's like that added to everything else. It adds up, and it like does like there's like a domino effect.
It does. It's
but
true.
That's probably the worst thing. Yeah, those are probably like the worst thing. The stress of dealing with like money, which, you know, everything is always alright in the end, and probably going through like a breakup. That's probably, a breakup's never nice anyway, but this is a topic for another episode, so we're just lightly touching on it now. But what about you?
For me, obviously the COVID thing was obviously just annoying for everyone. It's like the unknown, or just you're just going through something that no one in the world, no one that's living right now just has never been through that. So everyone's just on the same boat with the unknown, not sure whether you're going to have a job or whether you're going to be like financially flush for however long. But I think two of the worst parts about it was the whole like Black Lives Matter thing, and just going through that, being obviously black. Obviously, if you're just listening to the podcast,
get the fuck out.
I'm black, by the way, guys.
Get the fuck out. Jason Derulo, what?
Being a black man going through that whole situation was just it was very, very, very intense for me. Obviously, I was born in Jamaica, but I lived most of my life in Northern Ireland, and then now I've been living in Australia, and obviously the majority of Northern Ireland is white. They've got a very, very small demographic of ethnic minorities. Yeah. And
just
also live.
Just you and Paulo Lima.
Shut up. And also like living here as well. So just that whole experience of it just opened my eyes so much to just people's mind frame, their ignorance or lack of knowledge and anything that doesn't really concern them. Like if it doesn't affect them, then it's none of their business. Or if it doesn't affect them, they try to then like put their 2 cents in like something they have no clue about. So for me as a person, if I don't know anything about a situation, I'm not going to start sharing my opinions on Facebook, because like who am I to butt in? I think one of the worst things was just like the lack of support from my friends from back home. Yeah. And just not even friends and acquaintances, just them not willing to try and understand. And like when I would share stuff on Facebook, especially in Facebook, I'd have like lads that I literally like grew up with, hung out with like in summers in school, like commenting on my posts saying, no, that's not true, there shouldn't be protesting this and that. I'd like a guy that like was a part of the football club that I played for, like commenting like, you've never experienced racism ever in your life. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I gave him one example where he was actually there where it happened. And then he kind of rebutted that and said, oh, you got to expect that from certain people. And I was like, mate, shut the hell up. You actually like sound so stupid right now. You sound like such a prick. And he was just like, if you really want me to go, I was like, I'll delete myself off your friends list. I'm like, please do, you absolute
I think it's like it's weird in times like that where you really see where like people stand against situations.
Of course.
I know there was like, you know when the whole like gay marriage thing was going on here. So one of my best mates is gay. He's like got a partner, I think they're engaged or something. And he was like, the issue isn't people not supporting it. Everyone believes in equal rights, but there's a difference in believing it and doing something about it. He's like, that's the issue. There are so many people who believed in it but didn't go out to vote because it doesn't affect them personally.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, it's not about believing it, but if you do believe in it, you actively have to do something because there are more people who are against it who are outvoting us. Yeah, and that's the whole point. It's like, we need people who believe in it to actively do something. Not just go, well look, I am for it, but fuck, getting out of bed and voting is just long, but I am with you though. It's like, we'll do something about it because your vote counts. Yeah, it's going to make a fucking huge difference.
It's easy just to say that you're with it, but then if you're not active...
If it doesn't affect you personally, it's so much easier to be like, oh, that doesn't affect me, but I back you. I'm not, homophobic or racist, but you want me to go to the protest? It's just a bit long, but I do support you. It's like, well, no, but I want your support. I want someone to be there. I think that's a really big thing.
And it was such like, that time for me, I was like, it was such a... Even though there's so many people that was messaging me, supporting me and stuff, it was like such a very lonely time. Like there's a couple of times where it was that intense, like I had to just log off. Like social media, I was just there.
I didn't know that.
Oh, this is before you met me though.
Yeah, well I didn't know, I still didn't know that.
It was like in my last place when I was living in Centennial Park, it was just like, it was just so... It was so emotionally...
Surrey Hills place?
Pardon?
I'm on the Surrey Hills place?
Nah, Centennial Park. It was just such a very, very emotionally, mental, psychological, even like physically draining for me, just to like having to have these debates with people on my Facebook that should like listen to me. I'm like, mate, I'm the only black guy that you've ever like considered a friend that you know personally. Yeah, I'm telling you this and you're telling me the complete opposite, but then you're happy to share some random black American dude from like that's a Trump supporter, but you'll share that because it just pushes the narrative that you want to push against me. It's like
confirmation bias.
Yeah, it's like confirmation. Like how have you known me for like over 15 years and I'm telling you how I feel about the situation and you're like saying no, this isn't the case, and then you're happy to share some random black Trump supporter on your Facebook saying oh this and that. I'm like, mate, I just couldn't get it, and that was so hard for me.
I can imagine it's quite unsettling as well, because it's like, let's say you know someone their whole life, and it's like suddenly they come out with that, you're like, what? Oh, I'm back.
Exactly. That was like the most.
How did I not know this about you?
Even some of my really like best friends growing up like didn't get one message from them. Yeah. And I was just like I don't expect I have high expectations, but I don't expect people to live up to them.
That's not really a high expectation. That's like basic human.
It's but you know what I mean. But I don't expect people to like do things that I expect them to do. It's like it would be great if they did it, but the fact that they didn't message, it's like, oh, like I didn't like psych myself up hoping that it happened. It's just like it didn't happen, and when it didn't, I was like, oh, maybe they're just gonna wait a while. And like still to this day, haven't like had any conversations about it. We've spoken a couple of times just on social media, but they've never like messaged being like, oh mate, are you okay? Like I know this is like really intense. Like I can't imagine what you're going through. Like you're my only black friends. You know what? One of the worst arguments people actually said to me on Facebook, and it pissed me off, because I've had like a very lucky experience in Northern Ireland as a black man, like growing up.
I didn't deal with
too much, but that's not to say like I didn't deal with anything, but it was just because I had a good life. Like I went through school, went to uni, like I modelled a bit, like one Miss Northern Ireland, whatever. They deemed me having that experience as like, you can't complain because you have such a good life. I'm like, that's not the point. There's other people in this country that don't experience 100%. The country and the life that I did. So just because you know that I had a decent upbringing and a decent experience doesn't negate the fact that there's other people out there. It's like, what are you talking about?
There's like so many examples I've had with conversations, not to do with that, but it's like people are like, well look, at least you've got that. It's like, no, but I'm not, that's not what I'm having a conversation about.
Yeah, that's not what we're talking about.
It's like, you can't compare a situation you're speaking about to what I'm feeling at the moment. Yeah. This is what I'm dealing with, and people try and like fucking just play it down a little bit, and exactly. It's just like, you can't compare those situations. Oh, because you didn't deal with much racism, just get over it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like this is a situation, and of course it affects me, and of course I feel something about it. And that's just, that's meant. I didn't really like, I know we've spoken about it briefly, so like my parents are, my dad was Jewish, my mum is Jewish.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in God, I'm like atheist, you know. But I didn't really deal with much. I did as a kid, like as a kid when I was in primary school, like I got a bit of anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitic people. I can't. I don't know the full word.
I was going to say it just depends how you're going to use a sentence, but
anyway, people who were like just beefing out Jews, and I remember being in school, and it was a lot of other people, and I did get a lot of shit in school. I had people like making comments.
Well, did you not go to a Jewish school?
Nah, so I went to, my primary school wasn't Jewish. My primary school was like an all religious school.
Yeah.
Indians, like whatever, like loads of different religions, loads of different faiths. And I remember like getting shit from them.
I love the fact you're just like loads of different religions and you're like Indian. Indian's definitely not a religion.
Fuck, we've just lost the whole demographic now. Fuck, you know, we've just...
the whole demographic is out.
Our audience is shrinking.
All my Indian friends, I apologise for Dan. I'm slowly teaching them.
Oh, there's not a lot of Indians in Bondi, it's fine. Okay. I'm not racist. I love Morgan Freeman. I do. In The Matrix, he was wicked. Will Smith and Lethal Weapon, class.
Morgan Freeman and I Am Legend was so
good. Mate, that was Denzel Washington.
Was it?
Yeah, fucking...
Was Denzel Washington not Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Mate, you just got warm on there. Yeah. Fair play.
I mean...
So I was dealing with it in school, and I went to a Jewish school, and then, you know, nothing happened there. But then, like, I still heard it from people. I went on holiday I remember being in Spain, and I was with my mate. We were in Spain, and they were like, we went out, getting on the piss, met a group of lads, and we're all sitting around, and suddenly everyone starts cussing Jews, and me and my mate, like, we used to have like a star, like a mug and dove, it's what I call it, Star of David, and I hid it.
But what do people say? Like
if there's just stereotypes being like, you know,
like the money stuff,
the money stuff, chasing money, just stuff to do with that, and like being snakes.
Everyone chases money.
Yeah, but there's like a big...
there is that stereotype. Like,
I think it's to do with like the stuff that came from like World War II, or why Hitler did like what he did, and he made conspiracy... It's like, I don't know everything about it. I don't know much about, like, you know, I couldn't give a lot of details on the history of where that's come from, but there's just a thing going around that obviously Jews and money and stuff like this, and that's the common...
They always keep their money... The good thing about Jews is that they always keep their money within the community.
Yeah, it's a very community thing. Of course. But one of the biggest one of the biggest things they say is like, you know, throw the penny for the Jew. And that's what they were saying. And me and my mate like didn't say anything, didn't speak up, kind of like not jumped in on it, but I don't want to get... There was like 10 of them and 2 of us. I'm like, let's just go along. We were like 13 at the time. I was absolutely...
Do you think they were actually anti-Semitic, or they just like...
Mate, they were like, they were...
Being proper dickheads.
Yeah, they were being like wankers. And I thought, I'm a stranger in this country. I don't want to get stabbed. And anyway, so we just didn't say anything. maybe to like maybe like who I am now, I probably would be like, guys, it's just disrespectful. But I'm 13, I'm there with my mate, maybe like 15. No, sorry, I've got the age completely wrong. So I was 16, and I was there with my mate, and I'm like, it's just not worth it. But I don't really deal with it. I don't really hear stuff like that anymore. And I think we've spoken about it before, where it's like it's a lot easier for me to not deal with it because I'm white, so I just blend in really easily. Yeah. Where it's like, it's different for you because you can't hide it or stuff like that. So I don't really deal with anything anymore. No one knows I'm Jewish, you know, and I've got a bit of a schnoz, but that's about it. But like I could only imagine like it's a lot harder every day because you can't hide under it and stuff like that. But I mean, day to day, I don't really, apart from that stuff that happened recently. I mean, it doesn't, you know, it's not here. The stuff happened in Washington and stuff like that.
It's just one of those things where it's just like, can you imagine being black? I love being black, literally. Would not change it for the world.
I love you being black, mate.
Thank you. I love you for loving me being black.
Awesome.
I love you that you're a Jew as well.
I love plantain, mate. Deep fried pear. Bang.
Plantain. Never say plantain ever again.
Plantin.
Plantin, yeah.
Plantin.
That's the thing. It's like the fact that there's just so much distaste for black people like across the world just for the skin color. It's like, where does this come from? Like,
no one's born racist. That's the thing.
Yeah.
No one's born racist.
Tough,
I didn't have any black friends until because I didn't really have any friends in like my primary school. Like, yeah, I know. And that was just too cool for them. And then I went to a Jewish school, and obviously everyone's white there. I think we only had one black guy in our school eventually, and everyone was like, "Whoa, what the fuck? Yeah, mad." But I didn't have any black friends until I was like 17. I had a couple, but like for me, I didn't really get any exposure to like having friends of the culture until I went to uni. When I went to uni and like outside of my school, that's when it all changed, and it definitely like opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. And I think a lot of people in
cultural like exposure is definitely key.
A lot of people I know who, at that time, they really still only hang around with like their circle, their Jewish circle, and I feel like a lot of them to this day still stick within those circles, like naturally, not like actively.
Easy to stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But that was pretty much the experience of last year. Then obviously breaking up with my girlfriend. We pretty much broke up with our girlfriends.
I think it was like a week before or something like that.
Pretty much a week before you moved in.
I think mine was like on the 7th of July. That's when it happened.
But yeah, just through all that like hardship and everything I went through, I think that was also a positive for me in 2020. If we're going to segue into like what was like the best part, there was definitely a lot of self-development there, and become more self-aware, and like starting to like concentrate on me and like my future and what I see it looking like. Because obviously I've been here for 4 years now, and it's almost time that I kind of like try to, you know,
treat it like home, maybe.
Create a future for myself, here, or try to plan wherever it's going to be next.
What does that actually look like? So you know you're saying, oh, sorry, I just kicked that. You know you're saying like create that future, but what does that actually look like to you? Like what do you mean by that? Like what first things come to mind when you're like, right, I want to create that future?
I think it's almost like in your head, consciously start to like almost like manifest what I want to do. Still in a position where I don't exactly know what I want to do. Obviously with visa situations, because I'm still just on a sponsorship visa with this company that I'm with, like everything is always up in the air because you literally, especially with this whole COVID thing, you never know what's going to happen. So it's very hard to like make a solid plan. But just having like what would be the most ideal situation that I could be in. Whether that's here or whether that's somewhere else, more than likely going to be here. So like in conjunction with that, just being self-aware of like how I'm feeling. Like I constantly, every day, I'm asking myself in a situation, I could be at my desk, it could be watching TV, it could be walking Oakley, and just having him as well. Like, when I walk on my own, it gives me so much time to think. And it's just me constantly just like thinking, okay, how am I feeling right now? Where am I in life? Am I happy? Am I happy with my friends? Am I happy with my job? Am I happy with the way I'm living my life? Am I happy with the relationships I've developed? Am I happy with the relationships I've lost? The relationships I need to rekindle? And it's just like one of those things that I found myself doing from last year into now, where that was never a thing. I'd normally feel a type of way. I could be upset, and I just accept that I'm feeling upset.
Inertia. Have you heard of inertia? I think inertia.
I've heard the term, but you need to give me a lowdown.
Inertia is.
Do you want me to Google it?
Living. Yeah, go on then. Inertia is. I'll say it first. You'll Google it. Inertia is living in a state of comfort. I learnt that from a very smart individual. Inertia is living in a state of comfort. Is that right?
Yeah,
it's
so
like being comfortable and
inertia,
coasting.
a tendency to do nothing or to remain unchanged.
Yeah, I think so many people do that, and I think like I have been not a victim, like I've put myself in a situation where like I felt a certain way and just not acted on it, because it's so much easier to not do something and just stick with it. And Paul Moore, I don't know if you follow him on Instagram.
No.
He's like this fitness marketing guy. Anyway, really, really great speaker. And he said this thing, and I really liked it. It was like, until the pain of change is greater than the pain of staying the same.
Oh, I have heard this quote.
Yeah, until the pain of change is greater than the pain of staying the same, you won't make a difference and you won't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. People talk about change and people talk about wanting to do something different, but that pain of change isn't enough for them yet.
You talked about this so many times.
Yeah.
And you get really passionate.
I do.
You just
I heard
go on
that.
one.
Because you know when you hear things sometimes, and like there are a few quotes over the years from people that I follow on Instagram and stuff like that who are really great public speakers. And like I'm not one for some philosophical, oh my god, quote book. I'm not into that. Yeah. There are some quotes I'm like, that encapsulates a perfect example of an emotion that people feel or an action that people take. And I think that when I heard that, I was like, that's incredible. Yeah. Every time I'm not making a decision, I always think it's because I haven't dug deep for like a pain that's going to cause me to change that.
Yeah, and I think
my why needs to be stronger.
I think a lot of people are in a position wherever they say they want to change, but then they don't do everything that they can to make sure that change happens.
It's like people complain about, like, let's say before COVID, people complain about, oh, I don't like my job. It's like, cool, have you started looking? Nah, why? Oh, I don't know, I'm just really busy. What, busy in the job you don't like? It's like, another one where I heard, I really like this as well. I used to say this all the time, I used to be a culprit of it. Do you want another beer, by the way?
No, I'm good.
I used to be a culprit of it as well. It's when people are like, oh, sorry, I didn't have any time. And it's like, I've learned to hate that statement, because it's like, nah, it's not that you don't have time, it's just it's not a priority of yours.
Yeah, you need to prioritise. Same when people say they haven't got any money. It's like...
yeah, you do. You're just prioritising
If you're working full time, like...
fair. There are some people that are actually, but like, we're not talking about the 1%ers in our community. You know, we're saying like people are, I'm broke, but you see them at the pub on Friday, doing whatnot, and they're smashing loads of beers, and it's like, I thought you were broke and you couldn't afford, I don't know, that bit of therapy or that exercise or that gym or the thing that's going to give you that like positive mental attitude and work on yourself. And it's like, you do have the money and you do have the time, you just need to prioritise in the right place.
Yeah, it's like one of my friends, he travels all the time, Glenn Money, shout out to Glenn, probably get you on the podcast at some stage, that I met travelling, but he is the most travelled like person I know. Like, he's just always on another holiday, always like going to LA, always hitting Europe, Does
he work online? What does he do?
He works for the government, so he's actually worked for the government for years. So he has like,
doing what,
like extended, when you work after a certain period of time, you get like more, like, I don't know, what do they call it?
I don't know much about like this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so whenever you work for a company for a certain length of time, you're then afforded
you've got long service leave.
Long service leave, yeah.
That's after like 10 years.
Yeah, so he's my age, so he's been there for like
he's been in the same job for 10 years.
But people are like, how you afford to travel is like, it's not that hard. You just have to prioritise how you save your money.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, just stop going out.
Don't flush it down the toilet every weekend.
Yeah, the amount of money we spend on, like, when you go out and you drink, like, if you just didn't drink, it'd be ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Oh, mate.
But,
big culprit for that since moving here. Oof.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no. I don't mind that. It's been
I feel like when you came here, we were just like, oh yeah, we like to drink a bit, and then the first day you moved in, we had a mad house party.
I remember, I'm sure I could say this, I came in and I'm chatting to you, I'm like, oh, do you guys like to drink? And you're like, yeah. And Joe comes in, he's like, I'm an absolute delinquent. I was like, can I move in today, please? He just like, I'm an absolute delinquent.
Just like, oh yeah, Joe was so honest, and when you came in, I was like, oh,
I love that. I love that though. I love that. Just be honest, be yourself, because at the end of the day, you'll piss off the people that don't want to hang out with you anyway.
Exactly.
I think that's actually, to go on a bit of a, I feel like we're going point to point. Like a really good thing that I feel like I've learned, or maybe like relearn, or just like kept in place, is that just fucking, and I posted about this on Instagram recently. I put up a post. Yeah. And it was about the biggest thing I've learned is just about, like, the reason why we're looking at our laptops, by the way, is because first podcast, we've just got a few notes here, just like reminders of stuff we want to talk about. The biggest thing I've learned is just fucking be yourself. Be authentically you 24/7, and it doesn't matter what you're saying. Obviously, unless you're a fucking racist and homophobic, but like just be yourself. Be authentically you. And the ones that like you are going to like you, and the ones that don't won't.
Care.
I'm like, this is the whole thing with like Budgy Smugglers, right? I did get into Budgy Smugglers, but I do know, this is a real point. It's a room divider, and I truly believe this. It's like, you're going to get people...
By the way, he's saying room divider. I know it sounds like rim.
Oh,
it's not a rim divider. A room divider is in like a room of people.
Yeah, so like it splits the room into a couple of opinions. And this is what I think, right? This is my opinion that is correct. And
my opinion, that's a fact.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're going to get people who love it or they hate it, but they're not going to be in the middle. So you're not going to blend in and be generic, and you're not going to have friends just for the sake of it. You're going to be able to really appreciate it, or they don't, and you're like, man, I really fucking respect that. Or I really like that. That's fun. You know, you're fucking chill with yourself, and those are the people that I want to be around. People that don't take themselves too seriously and just don't give a fuck. So that's why I like it. I think that leads on to the thing of, you know, obviously a bit of an extreme of just being like authentically yourself and not giving a fuck. And I think moving here, I didn't know anyone until I met you guys.
Yeah.
I moved in with you. You introduced me to like an amazing group of people. Shout out to the Budgy Smugglers as well. Woo woo.
And then the girls as well. Sorry.
Also,
they'll be fuming. But
yeah. The girls group. You know, it's fun. Oh my god. And you know, obviously, I just thought. I remember I'd lived here for like 2 weeks, and Ellie was like one of our friends. Really, one of our friends, and she was like, "Oh, we're going snowboarding." And she's like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "I've lived here for 2 weeks," and I said to my mate Dan, he was like, "Just go." And I was like, "Yeah."
That's sick.
I was like, "Just go," and I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it, why not? Just dive straight in." I think it's so easy to to go back to like that comfortableness of living in the state of inertia, not stepping outside of that comfort zone and be like, "Oh, I've just got here, probably not, I'll wait to integrate." But I was like, fuck it, I might as well just do it. Just jump straight in, take a bit of money out of my savings, fuck it, it's what it's there for. And had an amazing time, got so much closer with everyone, and then from there have done, you know, so many different things. Your birthday, camping, Christmas, camping, all that kind of shit. And now like loads of them are like my closest mates here in Bondi. Yeah. And I think that I guess just leading back to just being yourself. And
we've definitely taken advantage of the situation we were dealt in 2020. Yeah. Like considering like all the restrictions. Yeah, all the restrictions that we're under, we definitely still managed to have a pretty decent bloody time. And I think that also segues into like probably the one of the final points we want to make is like what did we like learn in 2020?
Yeah. So another point on that, which I guess I would say to anyone else, and what I do try and say is, I've almost forgotten it now. It's I think that so many people live in a state of comfort, and when whenever you're questioning yourself whether to do something or not, I think human beings we always naturally go to like the worst possible outcome. It's always like, you know, this relationship, what if it's the worst decision I ever make? Moving here, what if it's the worst decision I ever make? What if it's taking that job? What if it's the best? Yeah. Why don't we try and flip that on its head and be like, what if it is the best decision I ever do? Yeah. And I genuinely do try and do that now. And like I said, I'm not some like philosophical person, but it's just little 1%ers. I'm like, what if it's the best thing I ever do? So it just leads me to trying to jump into more situations. And I feel like the past 6 months, I've just tried to do that as much as I can. Yeah. And it has given me such a big return on investment. Yeah. It's given me really good connections with people, great conversations, going away with people, having really good connections, and, you know, building really strong bonds.
I think like what you said is with the 1%ers thing, it's like people get themselves riled up so much because, as you said, like they think about what the worst could be, but it's like what is the best. And with the 1%ers thing, it's like, just put yourself out of your comfort zone for something really small, and then you just build that up. I don't know, for example, so say if you want to like, I don't know, let's use a really standard like get fitter. Like don't go to the gym and like or change your diet completely madly, or like start like pushing yourself to the highest. Like why are you gonna do that? Because that's you're just gonna like fall off. Like just do the smallest of changes, and over time, as you start to get better, as you start to get healthier, then you can like ramp it up. But I think just with things in life, I think the 1%ers are very important. And with me, in terms of what I learned, I just like just started seeing the good in like the very, very small things. Oh wow. Just with life, even just being able to just go down to the beach. Like if I compare how we are in Australia to back home, it's just like just the fact that I'm still able to see my friends, still able to go out for dinner in a group, still able to go around people's houses. Just like those little things that we were able to do, and you'd never think it of anything. Like those are things that now you actually cherish so much, because as shit as the world is like at the moment, like we do actually need to just appreciate. And I think that's one thing that COVID's taught us so much is like all the things that we used to do every day so nonchalantly, being able to go into the office, being able to go out for dinner, being able to go to a nightclub, being able to do this, being able to do that. Like now when you actually get to do them, you're like, oh, like when we went to Darwin and we went to the like club and we're like, the fact that someone was like sweating on me, I was like, this is unreal. Like, because we just hadn't been able to dance, we hadn't been able to stand up and dance. Then to be able to stand up and drink, and it's like we went to Darwin because like COVID's pretty much not there. Yeah,
just as a side note, if you want to go somewhere where no one cares about COVID, go to Darwin. It's like if you want to catch COVID, go to Darwin. And anything else.
If anyone's been to Magaluf or Ibiza and you've been down the strip, like Darwin is just pretty much like that at the moment.
I'm in the middle of a pandemic as well. It's like they went there and there's no such thing as COVID.
But yeah, they had like it was just even just stuff like that. It's like holy shit.
Big man Lee, by the way, shout out.
Yeah, good man. You're a good man. It's just like we got there and said this is so weird, and you just missed it so much. And yeah, it's just the small things in life I've learned to just start appreciating. Because there is so much good in the world, but it's just easy not to notice because there's also just so much shit in the world. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's pretty much what I kind of learned.
It's a bit of a sidetrack as well, going on about when people put too much pressure on. How long have we done this? How long have we been speaking for, by the way?
It's definitely over 30 minutes.
Is it? Yeah. Can you actually see?
No, I'm just going based off.
Can we not see on that? Like, if I click it, will that go off?
46
mate, fucking, I was really worried that we were going to, I don't know, I was just like, it's the first podcast obviously, but I'm like, I was just, mate, that's class. But I think one of the things you were saying as well, just to go back a little bit, because I think it is important, and it's going to lead on to like a pet peeve that I've like picked up.
Oh God. Have you already ranted to me about this?
A bit of a fucking rant. But
okay, this is going to be the last part of this podcast.
To like backtrack a little bit, to like preface it, it's like people, they put so much pressure on themselves, like new year, new me, let's get fit. And be like, I'm going to work out 6-7 days a week, do all this, and it's like, you're going to just fail, you're going to fail, you're going to put so much pressure on yourself, and you're going to fail miserably. It's like, stop trying to change your whole life and just create these different habits. It's like people think this, right? They're like, I'm going to wake up on Monday and be so motivated to go to the gym. Boom, it's going to be amazing, love it. And it's like, motivation does not work like that. No. I go to the gym, get up at 6 a.m. in the morning, go 4 times a week. And I go in the week as well. 3 in the week, 1 on the weekend.
You go 4 times a week?
4 times a week.
Couldn't tell.
You've got no calves.
You've no chest, shoulder,
you can't swim.
I can swim very well.
With armbands.
I can swim very well.
Mate, Lee, he did really well yesterday. We were going to call you.
Thank you.
But
I just give Lee abuse in the podcast. Not
even should we throw him on? You got a nibble? No, fuck off. What was I going to say? I was talking about this, and I was like, people making big changes. Oh, mate, you completely.
Oh, sorry. No, it was pretty much you saying people are like trying to make these changes and do these.
Sorry. Motivation. Yeah. Like, I've never woken up at 6 a.m. on a Monday and been like, I'm so motivated to get up. It's not how it works. What you do is you get up at 6 a.m., you go to the gym or do the task you want to do, and that gives you motivation to carry on. You don't start with motivation, you start with a daily habit, and every single day that you pay into this habit, you're building an identity you want, and that creates motivation.
Agreed.
People suddenly think they're going to wake up, it will never work. That's why people are like, people are like, are you going to the gym tomorrow? I'll see how I feel. Awesome, you're not going. You're not going to go. Like, most of the time you won't go. If you're going to see how you feel, you have to say to yourself, I'm going, then you'll fucking be motivated once you've gone.
It's always a mindset, isn't it?
100%, like 100%, and that actually leads on to like my pet peeve, which I don't like, and feel free if anyone disagrees with me. New Year's resolutions, right? We had a bit of a debate with this before, and when I say debate, you were shouting at me. What? And I just don't like it. Oh, mate.
Sorry, carry on.
He's so cute. I want to punch him. I was just boxing.
He's joking, by the way.
Yeah, I'm joking. Turn off the cameras. Turn off the fucking cameras.
Shut up. Right,
anyway, so New Year's resolutions. People put like, that's it, dry Jan. So people put all this pressure on New Year's resolutions, New Year's, new me. We've already said motivation doesn't work like that. And anyway, this dry Jan, people are talking about it. Some of them aren't enjoying it, but they're doing it for the sake of it. People are like, oh, I'm having such a tough time, I'm so stressed and I want to drink, but I'm not doing it because it's discipline. And it's like, I don't understand, right? You spend a whole year and there are so many parts of your life where you could discipline. Walk more, fitness more, speak to your friends more, look for a job you're interested in, discipline yourself with habits you've been trying to fit in for 5 years. But for some reason, you think 4 weeks of the year where you're not drinking and you're pissed off you're not drinking is going to give you any benefit to your life. Why don't you put that mindset into other things that are actually going to fucking benefit you? That's why I get irritated by it, because I'm like, not only do you just talk about it to everyone else, and if you want to do dry Jan, whatever, I don't, you know, I'm not friends with anyone who does dry Jan, we're not friends anymore. Alex, no one likes you. And I'm joking. But, and I'm just like, I don't know, I feel like there are so many disciplines you can have. Why don't you put that mindset into other parts of your life? And fair enough, some people do. Some people are really disciplined, they do the stuff they want to do. But there is a percentage of people that don't do anything, no discipline whatsoever. And it's like dry Jan is suddenly like, you know, sanctimonious. Oh, you should definitely give it a go. It's made me feel cleaner. What's your opinion?
I think I feel like people just should do whatever they want. I don't really care if they want to do dry Jan or not.
Get off the fence and have an opinion.
But I think why a lot of people would do dry Jan is because, one, it's straight after Christmas and they've just spent a shit ton of money on alcohol, partying, presents, whatever. So obviously doing dry January is going to save them a ton of money. And at the end of the day, like, again, it's a mindset thing. Like you're saying, why don't you put that into like another aspect? But if that's what they've chosen to put that mindset on, because obviously like most of these people doing dry Jan probably drink all year round. So being able to like stop themselves from drinking for 4 weeks is quite difficult. It's like, for example, there's this thing where boxers don't have sex if they're leading up.
I've heard about this, and I've heard like mixed things. Ronda Rousey spoke about this as well.
Boxers and fighters do this. Like they don't. Some of them do, some of them don't.
Is there actually any like studies to show that it helped? Because Ronda Rousey, I think, had an interview where she was like, no, she still has sex before.
Yeah, well, not everyone's going to be different, but there's boxers that just don't have sex with their wives or girlfriends leading up to fights because they want to like keep that testosterone. I don't know like scientifically how accurate that is, but it's definitely a thing. It's like there's this boxer.
That's why I don't have sex. I'm waiting to box.
I'm
waiting for this boxing fight that's never happened.
But it's a thing though. It's like you put yourself in a very uncomfortable position because in the long run it's going to benefit you somehow.
Yeah,
it could be psychologically, it could be financially, and that's just what
it could add to it as well. I guess like on the other side, you could do it and then from that be motivated to do other things in life moving forward.
Because I know people who've
done
dry January and then just not drank for like longer.
I'm guessing you're not friends with them anymore. Yeah, that's it.
We don't speak.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I do get the premise. It's like,
yeah, I understand that.
It's just new year, new me, new beginning. So it's just a good way to start. Cliche. But cliches are cliches for a reason.
No one cares about your new year, new me.
But we've been talking for quite a while.
Yeah.
But if you've actually stayed on and listened this long, thank you very
much. Congratulations, number one, for listening to us chat.
I hope you haven't lost any brain cells because future ones.
Yeah, we just kind of touched on it. Just give you guys essentially like the first episode. Obviously, this is new to us as well, and we just want to give it a go. We're kind of just freeballing here. We've had a few bullet points, but there's really interesting topics we are planning moving forward, and there's people that we've got in the pipeline to do a podcast with that. Yeah, we are really excited to do, and there's really interesting topics. I guess have a listen, share, follow, whatever you guys can do. Completely appreciate it if you can. If you don't want to, fair enough.
Not fair enough.
Share, yeah, exactly. Not fucking fair. I might say it's fair enough, but if you don't do it, you're racist and
anti-Semitic,
and you're anti-Semitic as well. Disgusting. But yeah, share, show the love, share it. Listen to the future episodes. We're going to try and do one, I guess, every 3 to 4 weeks. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
If we, think of more ideas, we'll do it sooner. Yeah. And we're going to be putting out content. And I mean, look, I've really enjoyed this so far. I think I'm glad that we've actually decided to do this.
I'm buzzing.
I think it's going to be really good. Should we like dab it?
No, we're not doing that. Right. Thank you very much. And see you next time.